you can request Facebook and say, Facebook, give me a copy of all information about me that you have. Today's video will be talking about one of the data subjects' rights as provided under the Nigerian Data Protection Act. If you have been watching our previous videos, you notice that we used to mention rights of a data subject. Today we'll be talking about the right of access to the personal data. So as a business, as an organization that processes the personal data of individuals, these individuals have a right to request that you provide them with a copy of the personal data relating to them which you process. And this is a right that you must honor and respect. Sometime in January, I received an SMS from an organization that I don't know of, and the SMS was saying that I should come and buy electronics. And I was like, I don't know this organization. How did this organization get my phone number to send me an SMS? So I searched their name on the internet, got their email address, and sent them a mail and say, kindly provide me with all information relating to me which you process. And they reached out to me and said, Mr. Lazarus Carlo, we got your phone number when you walked into our shop sometime in 2017 to buy some electronics, and they didn't fit to reach out to me now. I said, oh, okay, that's fine, please delete all my information that you have. And they said, no problems. So this is what you can do as a data subject with this right of access. Now, as a company, when you receive this right of access or access request from a data subject, what do you do? This is what I'm going to tell you in this video. As a data subject, how can you make a request for your personal data that an organization is processing? And as an organization, how can you or how do you respond to a request you receive from a data subject? Imagine that you have a Facebook account and you want to understand all the information about you that Facebook has. This is what this right enables you to do. You can request Facebook and say, Facebook, give me a copy of all information about me that you have. So let's dive into it. The Nigerian Data Protection Act provides that a data subject has a right to request from a data controller, one, to confirm whether the data controller is processing the personal data of the data subjects, and two, to provide the data subject with a copy of such as to whether the data controller is processing the personal data of the data subjects. So there are two rights here: a right to confirm that the organization or the business is processing the personal data of the data subjects, and two, a right to provide a copy of this personal data to the data subject. So when you have received this request from the data subject, what do you do as an organization? First, the law requires that within 1 month of receiving this request, that you provide the requested information to the data subject, right? Even though this law is not expressly stated in the Nigeria Data Protection Act, but the Nigeria Data Protection Regulation of 2019 states that within 1 month, the data controller is to respond to a data subject's request. And when you are responding, what do you provide in your response? One, you confirm that you are processing the personal data of the data subjects. Two, you list the categories of personal data you are processing. Say, for example, you are processing the person's, or you are storing the person's name, address, email address, health data, all the type of personal data that you have stored on this person's behalf or that you have in your custody. You have to state it in your response to this person. The third point is you confirm whether you have shared this personal data with any third party, right? So if you have shared it with your, let's say, subsidiaries or your affiliates, you have to confirm that you have shared it with it, and you have shared it with an organization in a foreign country. Again, you must state that you have shared this personal data with an organization in a foreign country. In that same response, you have to state that the data subject has a right to object to the processing of the personal data, to request a restriction of the processing, and again to lodge a complaint against the organization to the Nigeria Data Protection Commission. So in essence, you have to state the various rights of a data subject. So it is very key for you to note all these things. For example, you say, it is true that we are processing your personal data. We have in storage your name, your email address, your residential address. It is not enough. You have to go ahead, or you have to go further to provide this other information to the data subject. Information relating to if you have shared this personal data to someone else, information relating to why you are processing this personal data, for example, your lawful basis and all that. You have to state all these things to the data subject within 1 month. But this is not always easy to do as a business, right? Because sometimes the information the data subject is requesting contains information that relates to other persons. Okay, for instance, in the UK recently, an ex-employee made a request relating to his salary while he was an employee. And when providing this information to this ex-employee, the company provided the personal data of over 30-something employees, including their salaries, and disclosed it to this ex-employee. And they were fined for this conduct, right? So when you are providing response to a data subject's access request, you have to make sure that you are not disclosing personal data of third parties. So if the information the data subject is requesting for relates to information that affects other individuals or that even affects you as a business, for example, information that relates to your trade secrets, you need not necessarily provide all this information to them. So you have to clean or redact these aspects of the request and while providing the information to the data subjects. Another thing you have to take into account while handling a data subject's access request is the identity of the data subject. So for example, if you have doubts as to the identity of the individual who is making the request, you have a right under the law to ask the data subject making the request to confirm his or her identity before you proceed to providing the requested data. So when a data subject makes a request and you are to honor this request, do you charge a fee? The answer is no. Under the Nigeria Data Protection Regulation of 2019, a data controller is not to charge any form of fee to a data subject for providing a copy of the data subject's personal information to the data subjects. The law is very clear that you are not to charge any fee. However, where the request is unfounded or is excessive or is repetitive, in the sense that the data subject keeps asking for it over and over again, even though it has been provided previously, then the data controller has two options. One is to charge a reasonable amount of money for providing it, or two is to refuse the request. So this brings us to the end of this video. Thanks for watching. If you have not subscribed to our channel, kindly do so, as we regularly make videos showing you how you can comply with data protection laws in Nigeria. Thank you.